Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Ji. Thank you so much for giving me your sang today. Lakh lakh badaiyan hon tonu aaj Parkash Purab diya. So this kind of format, to make sure that it's clear at the beginning, is it's more workshop style. I feel like that is much more beneficial because with lectures we can quite switch off quite quickly, and if we want to take something practical out of it, it's always useful to participate. So the chat box, please do open it up. It's the text for voice. I'm sure you guys are much more used to it than I am, so I've got the text for voice open. So, even like at the start, I'm just going to be asking a couple of questions and leading conversation from there. And in terms of the history, just touching it quite a little bit, because I'm sure in terms of the details, a lot of people are aware, and in its practicality in this workshop. So we've seen our itihas, and then how can we practically learn from this, and what is it trying to teach us? So those are really important things that can be really valuable to us in our day-to-day jivan. So just to begin with, if we just do some moon mantra jobs and a little bit of the start of a job of like Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sukni Sab at the start. So if you make yourself a little bit comfortable, atasi akka mitlo, and just whatever time zone you're in, and however your day's been, just take these couple of moments for you and Guru Arjan Dev Ji and spend Guru Sahib, imagining that Guru Sahib is right next to you and you are having this direct conversation, this direct dialogue. Do it from your heart. Listen to what's going on around you and try to be very present. Feel yourself wherever you're sitting. Make sure you are sitting comfortably so that isn't a bother while you're sitting. So again, just a couple of Mool Matra jobs followed by a little bit of Guru Arjan Dev Ji's Bani. So, Ek Onkar Satnam Karta Purakh Nirpao Nirvair Akal Murat Ajuni Sapang Gur Prasad. Ek ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद. एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद. एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद. आद गुरे नमः जुगाद गुरे नमः सात गुरे नमः श्री गुरुदेव नमः. आद गुरे नमः जुगाद गुरे नमः सात गुरे नमः श्री गुरुदेव नमः. वाहिगुरु. धन गुरु अर्जन देव साहिब जी, 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 धन गुरु अर्जन देव साहिब जी. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. With Guru Sahib's Kripa, we can now begin. If you open up the chat box, I just wanted to ask, when you like, what is one thing that you know about Guru Arjan Dev Ji? What comes to mind? If you write that in the chat box, that'd be great because it can start stimulating some discussion about Guru Arjan Dev Ji. Anything that you've ever read. A cardboard boat of Bani. That's beautiful, isn't it? Guru Arjan Dev Ji contributed to a lot of Guru Bani, and that is actually very related to some historical references about, when Guruji was asked to change Gurbani, and he refused to change Gurbani, even that one paragraph, which shows how like the way Gurbani has been written is accepted by the Gurus, and that is the way we should speak it. Hanji Shahid Dada Sartaj, the great Shahid, that was where the first, you know, the first Shahidi happened in terms of the Guru lineage. So that is really important, because then we start seeing, you know, a very practical, physical way of giving your, you know, we've seen Tanman, and then, you know, your Tan being given to as well. Sukhmani Sahib, yes. Oh my God. So Sukhmani Sahib, I really want to speak about Sukhmani Sahib today, because it is one of those Banis. I mean, all Gurbani can completely change your life, right? But Sukhmani Sahib has been talked about in so many books of Gursikhs, and is emphasized so very, very much. And yeah, I will definitely be talking about that a little bit today, because again, that's practical Sikhi, right? Guru Arjan Dev Ji has written this Bani for us to do a Jarna Shabad Hazare. Very, very, there is amazing katha of Shabad Hazare, of like how beautiful these letters were back to Guru Sahib, right? When he saw Guru Amrit Shah, they said that they will be the boat of Barney. I can ask my husband does a lot of history. He's got his PhD. I can ask him about that. I get my reference from him at times as well. So yeah, no, that somebody has said that at the beginning as well. So the boat of Barney, full of nimrta and respect for Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Baba Shri Chand Ji. There is so much of these qualities that are embodied in the gurus, that are to show us the practical lives that we can live. So Nimrata is, you know, is something that is almost so underestimated in this life of, you know, there's that balance of, you know, you've got all these affirmation life, right? And where does Sikhi have their place with that, right? Oh, I am bold, I am powerful, I am amazing. But then we've got, you know, Nimrata, which is such a big part of Sikhi. You know, the way Das battles with that is saying Das. If anything has been given, is Das, is with the kirpa of, right? I guess that's the balance you get with Sikhi. But yeah, the amount of Nimrata that Guru Sahib had. They were involved. If anybody wants to also contribute to the answers of these questions, because I'm sure, you know, the things that are also leading this, feel free to give some answers to these questions as well. There are some Gurbani lines and by Gurdas Ji's Waras that I'm going to touch a little bit, which talks about the building of Harmandir Sahib. So hopefully by the end of the session, it feels like, you know, that question is answered. If not, I'm sure we can give it another go. Oh, yeah, no, he's much more knowledgeable historically than I am, for sure. So he has the right research there for sure. I think that's why we balance each other out quite well. um Tera kiya meetha lage. Yes, that is a big part of what I think we should definitely focus on today, because I think it's something Guru Sahib showed things practically in his Jivan, not for himself, but for us in this modern day and age. And these kind of ways of accepting hukam are prime examples for us to use in our everyday lives. So definitely, thank you so much for everybody sharing. That was amazing. Hanji, that Shabad Harman Singh, we're gonna look at that a little bit as well. I've got them all open. So we should definitely look at that. And then in terms of the Shahidi of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, in terms of historically, there are obviously a few different accounts of, you know, where of reasoning of it happening. And you know, you've got, oh, I thought my laptop closed. I didn't know. No, it didn't. It just went into sleep mode for a second. Different historical references, and it's still being researched because, especially when it happened, it wasn't spoken about as much. Because I guess it was the first time people had seen this happen to, the jot of like the guru, right? So there was a lot more research you'll see come out 100, 200 years after about what happened to Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And when you do look at different references, especially if you just look on online, there's, the Chandu, the idea that there was rumors and jealousy occurring and being floated about from Guruji and references from the emperor, of, having these very different opinions of Guru Sahib. And then Guru Sahib being asked to change Gurdwani. You've got a couple of different accounts there, but the main thing you kind of stem from it is that Guruji was able to give his life for what he stood for, and irrespective of what was happening around, and all these, rumors in India happening about Guruji was able to go through and show what you can give for such. I'm just reading the comments as well. Hanji, yeah, that story. I remember hearing that at one of the camps when Guru Sahib stepped on the floor and gave so much respect to Gurbani. And then, sometimes people will call us extremist for respecting Gurbani. And when it's disrespected, or if we're in a Gurdwara and someone's facing their feet towards Guru Granth Sahib and like, oh, gee, please, they'll say, nay, koi na. And we'll be like, oh, look, this is the amount of respect Guru Sahib gave. Like, this is the Guru giving this much respect to Ad Granth, which isn't even at full completion yet. And how much respect should we be given to Guru Sahib? So, no, thank you for bringing that up, Divjot, saying that that is really, really important. And in terms of the Shahidi, there's so much in history that has happened with our itihas is so powerful and so strong. And there is extremely so many practical lessons to learn from it. And the gap that we want to sort of address is a lot of our youth, a lot of the kids know our history. They know of it. They know, Jana Sahib Jadde. They know like key historical, Paitaru Singh, Baba Deep Singh. They know all these stories. And then there is this gap in implementation of, there is this distance, huge distance from what occurred in history and what is happening now. And I guess today we're going to try to bridge that, because these are things that occurred, like I said before, for us. So it is important that we bring this into our own jivans and see, okay, why does this matter to me now, and how can this impact me now? To be honest, my history not increased, I think. Yeah, no, I feel like we are always learning, especially I know you've said with group reading, like I've learned so much different stuff than I knew before, because at times you've got lecturers that speak more spiritually, which is brilliant and amazing, because they have these amazing jivans and they have these amazing relationships with Guru Sahib. But when we start going to the archives and we start looking into the nitty-gritty and the details, there are loads of things that come to the surface, and it is very, very interesting, and there's so much out there to research. So yeah, I think that you should definitely get him on. He'll be great at that, guys. So in terms of the Shahidi, if you just take a couple of seconds to think, what can you actually learn from Shahidi, or like what is to be learned? What is the lesson there? Like, what are the lessons there for us? What are the lessons? So if we can start thinking of that, I'd love to hear some responses. Acceptance and gratitude, two very, very powerful words that have existed in Sikhi for so long. There is this trend. Trends come and go, right? Gratitude, it seems to be that kind of trend, but Shukrana is been in Sikhi for so long. Sab to pehle Shukrana karida Maharaj no. In our ardas, ਅਸੀਂ ਮੰਗ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ, like, their naam santokia, you can ask for naam, all these things, but shukrana of what you have can make what you have already be so much. but when we don't do शुकराना सानू पता नहीं लगता गुरु साहब ने सानू किन्ना दिता सानू इन्नियां ज़्यादा चीज़ां सानू महाराज ने दित्तियां पर जो ऐसी शुक्र नहीं करते महाराज नो फिर सानू याद नहीं रहता there's things that we've asked for that Guru Sahib might have given us later and we don't realize but जो ऐसी शुकराना विच रहंदे आ कि Guru Arjan Dev Ji especially if you focus on this Bani of Sukhmani Sahib even in the Das Pastule Pache Pave, Guru Sahib says, Tonu das chija mein denda, and I take one away and you cry about it. That's what Guru Sahib's saying. And you end up, Guru Arjan Dev Ji in that Bani is telling us that I give you every gift, right? But if you take something away, that's for a reason. Guru Sahib can see the bigger picture. We might not be able to see the bigger picture. And even Guru Nanak Dev Ji tells us, then they Guru Sahib keeps giving and never gets tired. Never ever gets tired. Guru Sahib will always give. Friends, family can get tired. Like if you keep asking them to do something. I know I've got little cousins now, my in-laws, that get really annoyed if I ask them to do one little thing. They'll be like, oh Bobby. And I'm like, I just asked you to pick up your own stuff. And Guru Sahib never gets tired. Aisi ardas roj karde, aisi mangde aa roj. Guru Sahib doesn't say, oh, for God's sake, here she comes again. Guru Sahib dayal ne, very, very dayal. And then acceptance as well. There's so much that happens in our jivan, in all of your jivans. Everybody's got something going on in their lives. Everybody has got sukh and dukh. And, unfortunately, we do live in this Instagram world where everything seems amazing and the grass always seems greener on the other side. But I promise you, when you speak to these individuals and you talk to them, बहुत ज़्यादा दुख हैगा, right? बहुत ज़्यादा दुख हैगा दुनिया विच. We do बेनतियां to Guru Sahib जगत जिंदा रख ले अपनी कृपा तार, because it's burning. If we look at it politically, spiritually, with the New York thing, with Nirmal Singh, what just happened, like we saw our grandfather there, right? We see our grandfather. We don't see anything else with Sikhi. Everybody's our Sangat. So we see our family, we see them as our family members. Things that happen in Delhi in the rape case. There's so much happening in this dunya where you think like, how? Like what? And we ask Guru Sahib for that kirpa, like ete kirpa karo. And we do, again, coming back to the point that I was saying, was we live in this world where everybody's portraying the best parts of their life or the best parts of their jivan. But andro, like, these Gurbani lines wouldn't exist where, hum neech, or like, we would call ourselves like haram kor, like hum avgun pare ek gun nahi. Like we've got so many avgun Guru Sahib, we don't even have one gun. These Guru Bani lines wouldn't exist if we were perfect. But there's this idea that we're all perfect. And I think if we all always kept in mind that we're all on a journey and we're making a lot of mistakes, I myself make a lot of mistakes. We're on this journey and Guru Sahib is extremely dayal. And we have to ask, that comment. I'm just reading from that top comment still where it said acceptance and gratitude. Ke, Maharaj, tusi ape pana manandi, tusi ape, give me the himmat. Even accepting pana can be very, very difficult. It's a very easy thing to say, but very, very difficult to, just move on, don't worry, get along with it. Just, it happens, life happens. But to actually do that practically, Guru Sahib has shown it. Guru Arjan Dev Ji has shown it without any sadness, without any complaint, without even a iota of, this shouldn't be happening to me. Firstly, it shouldn't be happening. Is Guru Sahib right? If anyone's to complain, it's Guru Sahib. But Guru Sahib didn't complain at all. And these are things to learn from. Okay, how did Guru Sahib have this, right? So Guru Sahib has this immense power to accept hukum. But how does he have that? Firstly, obviously, he's Guru Sahib. But he's also created tools for us to use to be able to do that. We have those tools that Guru Sahib has given that Bani to us. Guru Sahib has given us Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj. Guru Sahib has given us Bani. He's given us a Naam. He's given us Kirtan. Galjagoch, Kirtan, that can elevate everything. It can change from a moment where, it could be life destroying things that could be happening to you. And you go sit in Sangat and it just reminds you, like, Pei Prapat Manik Huriya, go and Milanki, that you know what, this is happening. Someone's like, hit me, or someone's okay, violence is completely like unacceptable. I'm not saying to accept that, but someone's just done something horrible to me, and you go sit in Sangat and you remember the greater goal. You remember that you're in this dunya to meet Maharaj, and you only have that one opportunity. I was actually reading it in where we've got this book club, and we've gone through a lot of books like Saykanaya, Undikti Dunya. So currently we're on Undikti Dunya by Randir Singh, and he talks about it, and he's like, some people, well, obviously he was using Gurbani references, but he was just explaining a little bit below, and I think it really hit home. It was like, some people don't even have an opportunity to come out of the womb. And now you've got janms of snakes and like Giria and all these janms, but some people are just constrained to the womb. They go from womb to womb, and it really hits home ke tonu any every individual saying here tode karam enne change ne ke tonu you've been given manak, you've been given a human janam, and for us to be able to connect with Guru Sahib during this time. And the more we connect with Guru Sahib, the more that relationship will build. To begin with Sikhi especially, and it can be a very up and down journey. It isn't just like, oh yeah, meri live lagi, that's it, right? I'm done, amazing. It's uddam te kirpa every day. It has to happen. It's a consistent, like it's about a disciplined journey, and it's a relationship. It's like if you pick up the phone. I remember when I was in high school, call it high school now, secondary school, and even in primary school, actually, even when I was a kid, we had the wire telephones, right? And I would call my friend every single day. I learned it from my cousins. My cousins would always be on the phone to their friends. She'd always be my cousin Jazz. She'd always be on the phone. And I used to be like, oh my God, like, is this what a friendship is, right? And she was obviously like 6 years older than me. And at that age, I picked up on it, and I was like, oh, I want to do this too. And I used to call my friends every single day. And from that, there's relationships that I've got. One of the relationships survived that I used to call on the phone every single day. We've been friends for 13 years. But that friendship only survived because we talked so much and we built that relationships. It's the same with Guru Sahib. You have to talk to Guru Sahib every day. And if you talk to Guru Sahib, it starts off with like, okay, I'm trying to get to know you. You're at a conference, you bump into someone random and you say, oh, Vajika Sathe, you start talking, how are you? What industry are you in? I'm not saying the conversations we have with Guru Sahib, but obviously with Guru Bani, and obviously you can talk normally as well about your dukh sukh and just generally, right? And then you start off with that. And then you slowly talk more and more, and you get used to talking to Guru Sahib. And it's like, okay, so whenever something happens, I remember since I've got married, I used to live with Maharaj, right? Maharaj di Birkar hundi si. So anytime, and I mean when I was younger, I had exams, or I was stressed, or I was freaking out, where would I go? I'd go to Maharaj's room, because I knew if like ultimately, like if I failed an exam or failed university or failed anything, it didn't matter. Once I was in that room, it reminded me that what the bigger picture is. And obviously Guru Sahib's nirpal, so he can make you feel nirpal. So ultimately that relationship builds because you start going to Guru Sahib, because you go to your best friends, right? You call up your best friend, something goes wrong, you call your best friend up. And then Guru Sahib becomes that. Anything goes wrong, you're like, oh my God, Guru Sahib, like this is what's happening, you can help me out. And that relationship builds and builds, and we see those relationships in Gursikhs then, right? Amazing Gursikhs that have left gems behind. I'm trying to remember. There's another book that I really, really liked that I read recently. It comes to mind, it's by Parik Beer Singh Beer. I can't remember the name of it, but that's his name. And his book is amazing. Or like by Veer Singh, right? By Veer Singh, even in his books, writes that this task that Guru Gobind Singh Ji has given him is so difficult because his avastha changes every day, and he's trying to write the accounts of Guru Sahib, but it's changing and it's so difficult, and he actually got ill health then, because he was struggling to write these books because it's such a big task. But these Gursikhs that have these relationships with Guru Sahib, then they call Guru Sahib like Baba Ayasi, Baba Milan Ayasi, and you and you've got, you know, these occurrences in these books where you read in like Santarnams and getting darshan of Guru Sahib, right? In Paran, these things, you hear them, you see them written, and that's the relationship level that you get to because you talk to Guru Sahib so much. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next comment after the acceptance and gratitude because I feel like that was a big part of it. Resilience, by Sundar Kaur. Yeah, again, these practical examples, right? Santok, that was one of the things I was gonna say related to what just Deep Singh said as well. Santok is a almost a very underrated a quality. No matter what happens, if I had a board right now, I show it. No matter what happens in your life, up and down, up and down, up and down, when you are living the Sikhi Jivan, eventually you will hit Santok. With Guru Sahib's Kirpa, Santok Jindagi vich aa janda. And no matter what is happening inside, externally, things can be happening to you. Internally, it is different. And what I say is true because we see that through Guru Arjan Dev Ji. He is the living proof of this, that Santok exists, resilience exists, accepting Pana exists. And you know, if we try to explain this to people that were non-Sikh, they wouldn't believe it. They wouldn't be the amount of torture Guru Arjan Dev Ji was put through. It wasn't just one. This was very, very. When you look at the accounts, if you look at the accounts of it, you know, sand being poured over them for days, and Guru Sahib sitting there in the heat, and then being put into the like there's so much torture that occurred. And seeing Neochari, right? See Vinayachari. And then we see that Anna Ardas, right? See Neochari. The Gursikhs are able to replicate that because the Guru then gives them the power through Gurbani, through this practical Jivan where he's like, Tusi vi edda ho sakde hai. And then we see that repeated. Guru Sahib, there is no lie there. There is only such there. Through our history, we can see the practical, the absolute practical truth that exists. Everything Guru Sahib says happens. If Guru Sahib says, Joto Prem Khalanaka Chao, walking on this path, give your head on the palm of your hand. Guru Sahib shows that himself. Guru, you know, some people even say, you know, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Vaisakhi just went, right? People say, oh, Amrit di Jurat nahi hegi, you know, you got this, unfortunately, Dil Saaf gang. Not just that, but you've got this mentality that, you know, Amrit isn't for me, or I'm not perfect for Amrit, or you got this, oh, I'm not ready for Amrit, and I don't need Amrit, and or I've got this person, and this is a huge, you know, unfortunately that exists where people are getting people to follow them instead of the Guru, right? They're following human beings that are gonna die, and then all the karam theek nahi rehndे, but you know, following Guru Sahib. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji himself was blessed with Amrit. If our Guru had to put his hands together and be given Amrit, how are we not needing Amrit? Right? That's the question to ask these people that make these claims. And also, there's this huge, you know, this like a last step, guys, the last step, you know. Firstly, sa aya na ay. You know, jab lag jo saas hai, tab lag ihtan de. Guru Sahib tells us this: the breath you have in your body, as long as you have it, give it to Guru Sahib, right? Is easy to say. Yeah, I know I'm saying it quite easily. Guru Sahib aap pe kirpa karan, right? But you don't know when your sa is gonna finish, and when it's gonna come and when it's gonna go. And giving your jindagi, giving your life to Guru Sahib, and if you're feeling it, if Guru Sahib has given you even a spark, he's blessed you with a spark to learn about Sikhi, or have the thirst for Amrit, do not let that go, because you don't know when that comes back. Many people aren't even blessed with that thirst. And you know, you're not going to be perfect for Amrit because Guru Sahib is perfect. Sada Guru Pura Hega, right? Pura Guru. We've been given a Pura Guru. We aren't perfect and we can't aim for perfection, and that's okay. When we try to aim for perfection, we get very upset, but we're not perfect, and that's okay. Hum avgun pare ek gun nahi, right? We are filled with avgun, and us going into Amrit Sanchar doesn't make us perfect. A lot of people don't even value the Amrit. The majority, I remember Guru Sikh said this to me, the majority of Sikhs that go to take Amrit are not going to do Kamai of it. There's a very few minority that will go and do the Bani, do their Nityanim, do their Naam Simran in the morning, wake up at Amrit Vela and go into Sangat. There's very, very few that are virle hunde jide kar sakde and also maintain it till the end of their Jeevan. The majority think that their job is done. They see Amrit as a tick box, and Amrit was never a tick box. Amrit is the start of your Jeevan, where you're taking steps towards Guru Sahib and you're trying to live the disciplined life. Guru Gobind Singh Ji stopped and did his Asadiwar and Nityanim in the jungles during, the most hardest times. And then you have, us lot that come home late from a program and they were like, oh, we're so tired. Oh, how are we doing Nityanim? I'm so tired. And, you've got Guru Sahib doing it in the middle of a battle. These things aren't to just to glorify. Our itihas is there to implement into our Jeevan. When the kids here are like, oh, Bobby, we're too tired and stuff, it's like, no, what did Guru Gobind Singh Ji do, right? And they're like, no, but that's Guru Gobind Singh. No, Guru Gobind Singh did it to show us, right? He did it to show us. So let me go through the comments. I'm still going through it. Never turn your back to the Guru never turned their back to you. Hanji, so Sanmukh Rehna, we hear it at Anand Sahib, right? Anand Sahib, again, a very, very beautiful body. But again, I'm going to try to focus on Sukhmani Sahib a bit today. Never turn your back on the Guru. And you know what? You've got amazing examples where Guru Sahib's even given examples of when someone was possibly going to turn their back and then he comes to save them, right? Damn, the name's going from my head, but by Jodha Singh, it was by Jodha Singh, I believe. And it was, he was called from his Anand garage. He was very proud. He left his lava for Guru Sahib. He was like, wow. And then, going home and he saw that brothel and like Guru Sahib standing there trying not to let him come in. We all have wavering points. We have points where things may come in our Jeevan, which come as a test, a challenge, and they attack us. And sometimes we may fail. But the important thing is that you go to Guru Sahib and to see maafi mango, right? Hankar nahi rakhida hunda. Or don't be like me who's got chanchal mat, right? I've got a lot of I'll make excuses, really clever excuses, and that doesn't work either. Chanchal chanchla chaturai ke na paya, right? That's 100% talking about people like me. Chanchal mat nahi chaldi, right? Whatever you try, oh yeah, like I don't know what example to use, but you do something by mistake, say it's food related, but you're like, oh no, but this person should have told me. If they had told me, then I wouldn't have done it. But then it's like, no, it's your Jeevan. Like, it's your Jeevan. It's your responsibility. It's no one's fault. So yeah. That Divjot Singh, that Shabad is very, very beautiful. Jada Esi Maharaj de kol, when we start walking towards Guru Sahib will come towards us as well. Charan Charan Gur Ek Panda Jai Chal, right? So it's such a beautiful thing to think about as well, right? There's very, very few people that we can have reliance on in this world. Guru Sahib actually tells us not to have reliance on anyone, but we obviously live in duality and start believing, we can have reliance on people, which I 100% have as well. But you'll ultimately realize, especially when dukh hits, right? Right? When dukh hits, you'll realize that Guru Sahib is the only one that is always, always, always consistently there for you. Always, without fact. Without fact? No, without I don't know what the word is, but always there for you. Whereas other people might turn their back on you and they might walk away from you. Some people are only there for the good times, 100%. They're only there when things are going really, really well for you. And then when it comes to dukh, or if somebody's doing, say somebody started doing nindya, chungli of me, and they were like, oh, Prableen Kaur does this, Prableen Kaur does that. A lot of people will just ditch, 100%. They'll leave. They won't even question it. They won't even see, okay, should we ask her? Because, when it was times of the Gurus, everything was asked directly. If there is a fault, like if there's anything, things were asked directly. But we live in a world where everything happens behind doors, behind like blocked accounts, all this stuff. So, but Guru Sahib will stand by you and he will always be there, even when people don't want to associate sometimes when they start believing like rumors about people and all this stuff. But Guru Sahib will 100% always be there for you. Maharaj Guru Arjan Dev Ji, the perfect group of Ragi Prem. Oh, sorry, there's a lot of comments. Maharaj Guru Arjan Dev Ji is the perfect group of Viragi Prem for Akal Purkh, who taught us by their example how to be the soul bride to Akal Purkh Ji, how to have a relationship with Maharaj like the Gopal had with Krishna Ji, that we all strive to be like. 100%. Jidda, when we hear in Shabad Hazare as well, the amount of like you feel that Vishwara, you feel that's why that Bani, firstly, if you haven't read Sukhmani Sahib, oh my god, this is on your to-do list today. Guru Arjan Dev Ji's Bani is written in a way so beautifully that you can actually understand it without the translations being there. And if you read it with like slowly and with that bit of prem, it starts entering you, like it actually enters you. And you feel like Guru Arjan Dev Ji's Bani, this exact like, Viragi Prem, you'll feel it in their Bani very, very easily. And it's so important to read these money, right? Okay, it's we're celebrating today, right, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, right? But agar ਅਸੀਂ ਜੀਵਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਅੱਜ ਕੁਝ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਰਜਨ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ, then what are these celebrations like? ਅਗਰ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ, or if we're still like worried about what people are going to think about us when we're on this journey, and we're too worried about, we're too worried about the opinions of other people, then where are we? How? Why, what? Where? How are we celebrating these? Right? These should all be events that are making us closer to Guru Sahib. They all reminders, right? कि at time हैगा, at vela हैगा, Guru Sahib de naal juran वसे. False accusation against the Guru Sahib and how they 100%. This happens quite a lot nowadays. Anyone, I guess it's with the social media world, anyone can say anything about anybody at any time, and when you don't know who they are, it gives legitimacy to it. I'm quite young and I'm going through it already. Anybody that speaks about or tries to do seva, I'm sure the people on this platform as well, you'll get stuff against you because this is the dunya, right? But at the same time, we see Guru Sahib's Jeevan go through this, his own brothers, going against him. And how did Guru Sahib deal with that? Any nimrata dinal, right? And even in Gurbani, like it says, Nindak mere kapre toy, right? A Nindak washes your kapre. And imagine seeing that as like, if you truly believed that, right? If you truly believed a Nindak washes your clothes, you'd be happy if anybody was doing Nindya of you. But then I guess there's that other side of it as well, right? Of like, that other side, which is you don't want the at the end of the day, we wear Guru Sahib Sarup, and we are representing Guru Sahib, and Maharaj, hope he blesses us to be Gur Sikhs that he's proud of. We can ask Guru Sahib to do that, right? But then also when somebody talks about Gur Sikhs negatively, there is a certain point that you might need to reach and talk back as well, because at the end of the day, the badnami ho jandi for Sikhi di. Ant na sifti kehna, ant na kana din, ant that was also upholding the honor of Vaheguru. Yeah, always like we at the back of their mind, that not actually, that's very much in the forefront of their minds, that relationship with Vaheguru is always happening, right? Their relationship is continuing, that live isn't broken, and there's Gurbani lands I haven't even gone to yet that I've got all open, that talk about how, or ik hai gaya. I'll open them up as well. I don't know if I won't share a screen, I'll just open them up. But their connection with Waheguru, and they not for a second wavered. So even we've got Pyo Dada, you've got this line by Gurdas Ji's Vara, right? Guru Arjan Dev Ji is the lamp of the line of his father, grandfather, and great grandfather, right? That light continues there. And you know how we're talking about Gurbani, so many people have related Gurbani with him, right? Gurbani Pandar par Kirtan Katha Rehe Rang Rata. So he is the storehouse of Gurbani. Guru Arjan Dev Ji being called that by Gurdas Ji, and by Gurdas Ji's Vara are the key to Guru Granth Sahib, right? So we have utmost respect for it. And he's immersed in the perfect love of like how Jigjeet Singh was saying that, upholding the honor of Vaheguru, Ton anhad nijrichere puran prem amyo ram ras mata. Amyo ras mata. So that love and that beragi love staying there. Let me keep going through the comments. Also add to the Das Pacha De Pache Pave. Guru Nanak Dev Ji also says in Japji Sahib. Yeah, they learned the at the start about you we get tired. And the katha they said when you try to say thank you to Waiguruji every time you get something you'll get tired and probably stop in like one day. Let me try to understand that. Used to think how does the receiver get tired? I love to get a lot of stuff, but then in the katha they said when you try to say thank you to Waiguruji every time you're so if you there's this gratitude journal that I wanted to create like a Sikhi version, but there's one that I have which is, just thank you, Guru Sahib, for everything. And you know what? My hand just gets tired because I'm just like, there's so much Guru Sahib's given. Like, if we just look at what's around us right now, right? So we're in probably warm or cold rooms, depending on what temperature you need right now. We've got food, we've got water, we've got this breath. Mara just blessed us to be in this audience, to get sangat of each other, to do vichar, to get our brains thinking and thinking about Guru Arjan Dev Ji, to have the soji as well, to have the brain, to have the mat, to have thoughts, so many people don't have that. Our lives in struggle, nothing to care about compared to by Manji. We also have book club. Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot going on Sikh Discord. So, there's so much to join in on. And if you have the opportunity to join these spaces, make the time. There's actually this course that I did with people about practical Sikhi, right? And one of the things was people say, I don't have the time, Benji. You have the time. What you're saying is, this is not my priority. It isn't and this hit me hard home as well, because there's so much that I don't do enough of at all. I don't do enough at all of it. And the hard hitting thing is, it's not I don't have time for Sukhmani Sahib. It's Sukhmani Sahib is not my priority. We live in a 9 to 5 job, and I've seen this clip as well on TikTok. It's like, oh, on the weekends, make the life that you want to have, and like millions of people have listened to it and want to implement it, and the weekends of to make their life. But when you're saying you don't have time, we all have the same amount of time in the day. The same amount of time all these Gursikhs that have written these amazing gems, they had the same amount of time. Guru Sahib's Gursikhs had the same amount of time. We have the same amount of time. Nothing's changed. Our mindset has changed. We have different priorities. We'd rather grist jivan rehni chahiye, right? We live, we do kirt. But even in that, there's implementation that can occur, right? At lunchtime, I remember I was talking to Gursikh, and he would go for a walk at lunchtime and do Bani. And once I also I don't say the names until they pass away and whatnot. But he was saying that once he fell asleep at wherever the park he went to, and then when he came back to work, he was like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, what are you talking about? All your work's done. And that's a modern example, right? That's like a year ago. But these kind of examples are in old books as well. You've got Empire Rama Singh's book, In Search of the True Guru, which is a brilliant book as well. And he talks about how he must have been sitting in a program and he completely forgot he needs to go to work, and he goes in the next day and everything's done. Everything was done. Like, they're like, oh, you were here, like everything's done. Or like even in Biden, these things, you got it in so many books where these Gursikhs may have prioritized Guruji, but it's not lost them anything in the world either. It will only gain. You have got nothing to lose by devoting time to Guru Sahib and taking time away from somewhere else. So say in work, we always want to do more. We're in it's again talking about the capitalist society. There's this really funny video about it as well, like, oh, until I'm dead, I'm going to keep giving my life, and that's what they love. But going over hours, all this stuff, and having those boundaries and being like, look, this is my time for Guru Sahib, like at time likhya and they are boundaries, right? Like, this is my time for Guru Sahib. And once you create those, it can really help you later in Gris Jeevan as well. So, for example, giving you a practical example, say you do your reras at 6 p.m. every single day without fail, and it doesn't change. Say someone tries to call you, your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, anyone, they know at 6 p.m. you're doing reras, and no one needs to disturb you, like Gurbani time with Guru Sahib. But if you're like very, like I can be that as well, like Jeevan goes up and down, right? If you're all over the place, then nobody knows. Like, how is anybody supposed to know not to disturb you or if someone gets annoyed and they're phone calling you so much, like how are they supposed to know? But discipline can create those things and create those kind of things. Shahidis inspire not just in terms of the act itself. Yeah, Shaheed sings and Singania throughout our itihas. And again, we've got Guru Arjan Dev Ji, who's Shahida Da Sartaj, right? Who starts this for us. Um, yeah, no, feel free to talk about that after. But their lives, you can talk to Guru Sahib anytime. He understands any emotion. So even if you talk angry, which at some point you won't, he will understand. So talk to Marj as you would a friend, a family. 100% dil khol ke, right? When I say dil, I always remember Dil Saf Gang, unfortunately. But dil khol ke, because there is no judgment there. And that's when you also will feel the true experience of being with a Gursikh. There's no judgment. Because obviously we know these Gursikhs, especially ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਉੱਚੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜੀਵਨ ਕੀ ਹੈਗਾ, and there is no judgment there. And that's probably why I got into Sikhi, because there was Gursikhs that were from very very high avastha, and when I wasn't Amritari and I wasn't wearing a dastar and I wasn't reading any Bani, they treated me like I was a Gursikh. They any soni fateh balai, right? I was this little kid, and this Gursikh stopped, very red face, put his hands together and goes, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. And I swear to you, that was 100% one of those moments that changed my whole Jeevan and my whole trajectory of my life. Because if that didn't happen, I would think, oh my God, everybody's judging me. Oh my God, I'm being judged. Like, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be at these camps. I'm nobody. I don't belong in this place. I don't look like these people. I'm not, like, no, like, this isn't it. But it's those Gursikhs that are non-judgmental, which they get from the Guru, right? They are the ones that change Jeevans. And ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਇੰਨਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ, they have so much prem that they don't see ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਮੀ ਕੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, but ਚਿਰਕਾ ਵੀ ਲਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ, like how Guru Sahib can, they say, like in Gurbani it says he hugs you and then he tells you off, and that's okay. And ਦਿਲ ਖੋਲ ਕੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰੀ ਦੀਆਂ, right? And also just on the note of like ਫਤਿਹ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੁਲਾਓ, ਫਤਿਹ ਦੀ ਸਾਂਝ, right? It's really sad, but it's going. You know, I walk past a little things and singing, and like I'll say fateh and I don't even hear anything back. I think they're so shocked that someone said fateh to them, so they're in shock and they don't say fateh back. But it's so important. I think it was in Sikh in India, where it's like, it's somewhere that you have to, like, that is a part of Sikh. That is a part of being a Gursikh, that you say fateh to people, and that's a part of your death, right? So you should definitely talk to Maharaj as you would a friend, and that relationship builds. There's a Gursikh here actually in Fresno, and he talks about it. He says when he was having darshan of Guru Sahib, like he was saying how he was lying down in Maharaj's room and he was thinking, oh, you know, he was going through all the different relationships you can have with Guru Sahib, because there's so many different relationships in Guru Granth Sahib, right? From a slave, a master, a husband, a wife, a best friend, a worker, a laborer, a trader, a tradesmith. There's so many different relationships, and then he was going through them. He's like, oh, you know, I can't be your das because I don't act like that. Oh, I can't be, you know, a worker for you because I don't do anything. I'm not good enough. And then he went through every single relationship and he settled on, oh, I can be your kid. Yes, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਪਿਤਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬੱਚਾ, because ਬੱਚੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, and mind you, he's a buzurg Gursikh, but he's like, ਬੱਚੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, and he was like, you know, this is the relationship, and you could talk to Guru Sahib like that, right? Like a father and a daughter, or a father and a son, and talk to Guru Sahib quite openly, because Guru Sahib isn't going to have that judgment. In life you might get that judgment, but Guru Sahib isn't going to judge you because he knows exactly what you are. He's known for a very very long time, right? You don't need to hide anything. You can't hide anything anyway. But Guru Sahib can show you, and you can talk to Guru Sahib and take this day, right, to talk to Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and you know, talk to him through Gurbani, or if you want to have that discussion as well, and you'll feel as though Guru Sahib is sitting with you, because Guru Sahib is always with us. We just forget because we're so engaged in duality and there's so many other things in front of our eyes. But then I guess your Sikhi becomes motagri when you see Shahidya and when you see people pass away, right? People here that have seen people die, they will have a different connection. because they know that this life is very, very perishable. Those things change, these dukhs change your life, or sukhs, because you can see them as sukhs because you get closer to Guru Sahib from it as well. Um, that yeah, Guru, that शब्द जो तो प्रेम करने का चाहो सिर ते तली गली मेरी आओ इत मार्ग पैर तरी जय सिर दीजे कान ना कीजिए. So don't pay attention to public opinion. And that's being said in Guru Sahib's time. And what are people so worried about now, right? When we go to camps and stuff and we talk to people, oh, Benji, but what if my workplace says something? But Benji, what if like my friends don't accept me for who I am? Well, get better friends, right? You know, if your friends can't accept you for who you are and where you want to take your spirituality, you get better friends, man. Jaisi Sangat, Tesi Rangat, whatever your Sangat's like, that's how you'll become. You know, I've got a dog-in-law now. I've never even been around dogs ever in my life. I walk the other side of the street when I see a dog, not because I'm scared of them, but because I just don't. I never used to get it right. Now I have a dog-in-law. When he barks, just to annoy him, I start barking, and I'll be like barking, and come on, Jesse Sangat, Tesi Sangat, he's barking all the time. I'll bark back at him, and honestly, that I don't know what other example can show you that whoever you're around, you're gonna become like that. You're not like and something clever that people think that they can do, especially at a young age, they think they can do this. They're like, oh Benji, but we can change them. And Benji, like, no, it's fine, it's fine. Like they listen to me, and it's like balance yourself out. Make sure you're in like make sure in the sangat that's better than you so that your jivan gets uplifted. And yeah, if you want to change people, great. But it's like it's a Gurbani line that says this. Jida panda hunda na, soot gets attached to it, and that soot is there. That's not under the control of you. Like if something wipes past you, it's gonna go on you. Isn't you're not gonna escape it. Unless you're on the next level of asta, which is fair. Sabna marna aya vishora sabna, 100%. And this is a very, very hard lesson that people struggle with. But again, like Guru Arjan Dev Ji shows this, but also does it in such a way that you you're just left in awe, right? That not only is accepting hukam, but mittha manake laya, right? Mittha manake, and then you see all these Gursikhs that are able. He created so many more shaheeds after that. Why did I think of that? I'm reading the comments as well, by the way, whenever I stop. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the question box, wherever it is. I'm sure there are amazing people here that are able to answer them and give it. By Nidhi Singh Ji also said in jail Chittiya that when he listened to the whole Akhand Path in one sitting, he forgot to go to work. When he went to work the next day after the Akhand Path, the attendance sheet said that he was there and all of his work was done and no one said he was missing. Yeah, it's amazing examples, right? We're so worried. Like I get worried. You know, I need to go here, and if I don't go here, like I'm gonna get in trouble. And we're so worried about the let's wear this in the right way. We're so worried about the government's here, but we're not worried about Dharamraj. Like, who matters more? The one that's going to meet you after death, or the ones that are here that don't really care about how you work? You're just an employee for them, right? They're not going to help you out later on. Whereas, you know, the people that you are definitely going to encounter, which is Dharamraj, and when he asks you, oh yeah, like, why did you choose that second birthday party over going to that Kirtan program? Because trust me, you will get 2 examples like that, right? I remember when I was first getting to Sikhi, there was a disco at school. Guys, don't judge me. I was very young. I was 15. There was a disco at school, and then there was a Kirtan program. And they're at the same night, and I was like transitioning into Sikhi, so I was like, oh my god, what do I do? And it was actually like, obviously now I look back and I'm like, oh my god, but it was a debate in my mind. I was like, do I go to the school disco or do I go to the Kirtan? And I was like asking my friends, what should I do? What should I do? And obviously, like, I didn't end up going. I did artwork in the art room, but you know that was a debate back in the day. So it's like thinking. You know, those things will come up. Even actually, the Kirtan program, I was saying to the organizers here, it was a Kirtan program that we did yesterday because we weren't getting much sangat, so we called some people over for Kirtan, which was so lovely. And then at the same time, my in-laws had a party, and obviously they're not Murdari or anything, right? But it was crazy because this huge family where there's 10 of us, 5 of them went to the party and 5 of us were at the kirtan, and they stayed there till 12 and we stayed there till 12. Completely different lives, completely different hours, but they had the time of their lives and we had the time of our lives. So it's just crazy. But slowly, those numbers start changing, right? When you start bringing Gurbani into the house. And bringing in Guru Arjan Dev Ji's Gurbani, right? Sukhmani Sahib, even if you talk to non-Amritaris or anyone that's not really into Sikhi, they will always talk about Sukhmani Sahib. They love Sukhmani Sahib. I actually share this really lovely quote that I like. Sukhmani Sahib in Paramahansa. A person of any faith can read Sukhmani Sahib. The power of the Bani is so great that the reader or listener overcomes all pains and distresses. That was in Pairama Singh's book, right? But Bani itself tells us like Bani dukha, like it's dukha, it gets rid of all your dukh, right? But Sukhmani Sahib, created by Guru Arjan Dev Ji, who was able, it's actually by Gurdas Ji's Vara, right? That he was able to, in Bhagavad Gita, he said, his inspired and elevated spirit conquered all sorrow and pain. That guru wrote this Bani, so why wouldn't all our sorrow and pain go to somebody who practically was able to get rid of all of their sorrow and pain? You know, so many people in this world are they're like gurus right now, right? Of their own fields and whatnot. But how many of them are able to practically live that? Very, very few. But we've got a guru that is practically lived that and give us the practical gems with it alongside. Let me just go down. Rameya ho barak tere kahe na kandis avgun mere. Yeah, so it's like when we have that relationship, firstly, ahankar is a huge thing, right? Our ego. When we see ourselves as children of Guru Sahib, then we see ourselves as like, you know, we make mistakes and that's okay. And we ask for forgiveness from Guru Sahib. Mere Ram, eh neech karam har mere. Guruji, like my karam are so low, like my actions are so lowly, but tusi kirpa karo. Deen Diyal Sun Benti, Har Prabh Harai Ramraj. Like to see Sadi Benti, like this is our Benti. Yeah, it is just keep saying, yeah, I do call him a dog in law. He's a dog in law. Um Guru ka Sikh Vadapagya, like Guruji chose me to become a Sikh. It's just so nice. And I'm so thankful Guru Sahib. Sadguru Sikh Gare Pratpal. Yeah, I think I'm coming back to the dog now, right? It's really bad. Because we came back home last night and he was crying, like, I think because we left him, everybody had left him 5 hours. He's quite a big dog. He's like half the size of me. And he was just like really sad. He was jumping about everywhere. We were tired, but we were like, Chalo, like, you know, let's sit with him. He clearly needs some attention. Like, gave him loads and loads of pets. He was very, very happy, very jolly dog then. But I was just but John, he's come as like a janam of a dog. And then like obviously we always forget, and then like Bibi was like, yeah, but also like think about it, like he lives like a king. I'm like, yeah, he has treats all the time. He has like he gets, oh my god, like he gets so many treats. He runs about, like my father-in-law takes him for a walk all the time, even though they didn't ever want the dog, but he loves him the most. Takes him for a walk all the time. He's got the most attention. He's like a son or daughter. He is like a part of this family. If anybody does Nindya of the dog, oh god. If I, as the daughter-in-law, said anything about Ranja, bro, they'd get rid of me. Like, no, like he has higher priority in this household. He lives like a king. And we're like, oh, they can sone karam hone, right? Because other dogs, like we go see them, like, you know, they like when we go India and stuff as well, like they just have no food, but they got so many diseases. And like, okay, even though he's got a janam of a dog, like he's done something good, right? Where he's being treated like a king. He's got food, water sitting there, everything. Like he doesn't have to worry about anything. He doesn't even know like anything. He just goes about his life, gets annoyed when no one gives him attention, and like has a time of his life. And then also, you know, like he's listening to Gurbani, like it's on all the time. So he's getting, and then we actually said it, we were like, if he was a good small dog, we'd take him to the kirtans, but we can't because he'd get too excited, so we can't. Yeah, there's saintly dogs. I've seen them in videos as well, like, and we're like, oh man, we wish Ranja was like that. They just sit there and they listen to kirtan. And you know, but that the reason I was saying that was because you know, we've been given a human janam, like I'm sitting there thinking about this dog, and I'm like, we've been given a human genome, which, who knows if you'll get it again next life, or if you don't, merge with Vaiguruji. And we have, after this talk, I could go for a drive and some random motorbiker might hit into me, and that might be the end. And this is the last talk or workshop I ever speak at, right? That's just the reality of things. Things are so things are, you can't predict things here, right? The only thing you can predict is that Guru Sahib's always going to be there for you. Connect with Guru Sahib and Gurbani. And that's the only thing that can actually, that's the real currency, right? We can spend as much time as we want making money, spending time with family, making people feel, listening to all the everything, but ultimately the currency is Bani, it's Nam, is Gurbani and Nam, right? A Sangat can triple, quadruple, 10 times that currency if you want to. It's like when oh, it's a really bad example, but Candy Crush. I've spoken about this way too much, but yeah, I tried to bond with my mother-in-law and she played Candy Crush a lot, so I decided to play it. But in Candy Crush, if you wanted a booster, you can get these boosters and stuff. There's like 10 times boosters, and it's like, if you saw life as a game, which it is, right? The currency of Sangat can elevate your Jeevan so much. Like they're like having constant boosters all the time, and they're just quadrupling everything. But let me just have a look. A dog is used as a source of lot method with guru. Yeah. Poke aage ji badan pasar, like, right. I'm hum kukar tere darbar, right? I'm like a dog at your darbar, and I bark and I bark and I bark. And then hopefully you'll hear me, right? And nobody in this life is going to be able to give verdict when it comes to your judgment day, right? If there's a court and you're able to call people to the stand, most of the people that you know aren't able to do your wafadar. They're not able to do it, right? The only thing that can stand in your last days is the Naam, the Gurbani. And you know what? If you have got Sangat and Gursikhs, they might be able to vouch for you as well, especially those that have, that are able to. But apart from that, like, it's Guru Sahib, right? Guru Sahib can vouch for you 100%. And you won't even have to enter. I think it was in one of the stories, right? In Nark, there was somebody that was case study in, like, in one of the pits of fire or whatever, and like he was pulled out with his case because they saw his case study. And Guru Sahib, if you devote the time and make Guru Sahib the priority, then Guru Sahib is able to make you a priority on that list, right? And hopefully we can spend this Jeevan towards Guru Sahib. Arjan Shabad Jahaj Guru Pad Shabad. I think someone's asking what something means, but I have got a couple more Gurbani lines, but I feel like I have already spoken for an hour. But I'll quickly have a look at the Gurbani lines, and if there are any other questions, feel free to drop them in the question box. So there's this about Guru Arjan Dev Ji that by Nandalal Ji says in his Vara. He says, O Rab vich si, ate Rab us di zant vich si. So he was one with God and vice versa. And us diya sifta da varnan sadi jeeb de byan to bahar hai. So our tongue is not capable of doing this virtues. That we can try our best, right? To talk about these things, but Guru Sahib is so hard. And even in so again, Painan Laji talks more later on as well. So he says his entire body is the glimpse and reflection of kindness and benevolence of Akal Purkh. What to speak of what to even say about these virtues. And I think there's one more that I might not have spoken about. Ravasas Jot Udat Lang Param Jot Parameswar Pyara, crossing the lights of sun and the moon. Guru Arjan Devi loves supreme light of the Lord. And someone said before, right? Like that Vairagi Prem. And that's like the love Guru Arjan Dev Ji has. But yeah, I hope Maharaj's Kirpa, we're able to spend some time with Guru Arjan Dev Ji today. And we're able to spend more time with Guru Arjan Dev Ji throughout our Jivan. And we are able to build those relationships that will go with us beyond this realm. And that is only Maharaj's Kirpa. If I said anything wrong, I promise you it's from my mat and buddhi. If I said anything right, I promise you it's from Guru Nanak Dev Ji and his Kirpa only. Yeah, like,
And
do as
Jipanji,
asked.
we have some questions from the Sangaji. Would you be able to take some time and answer them? Just a few questions.
Of course, yes.
Okay. So the first question we have is that I've heard that Krishna said to Arjun that he will be honored due to him being a great servant. He will be honored by his name being one with Krishna and Kaljug. Now Guru Arjan Dev Ji says that my name is now Arjun and Dev. Dev meaning Devta or Bhagwan and Arjun for Arjuna. Is this account true? And does this mean that Vaheguru Ji spoke through Krishna?
Firstly, I have never heard this before. So I will myself go and ask my lovely husband about this. But secondly, just off the basis of Gurbani that I know from Japji Sahib, right? Devtiya and Devas, there's different realms for them. And those that ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਛਕਿਆ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਾਮ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਸੱਚਖੰਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ right there's a lot of respect, don't get it wrong, like there's a lot of respect for those people, those devti and devte, but from just my bare basic knowledge there's different currents for them. And ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਅਮਰ ਛਕੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਿਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਥਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਸੱਚਖੰਡ ਵਿੱਚ, which is the ultimate realm we want to be in, ਹੈ ਨਾ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਣਾ. But I'm happy whoever asked that question, if Viji, if I send you like a response that I can get a more detailed response on that, or if anybody else knows, feel free to jump in, right?
Okay. So the second question we have is that when you see that friends can turn their back on you, etc., where does that put your sangat?
I think there's a distinction, right? This is something to really think about. People that are sitting with you that have the suroop doesn't mean they're your sangat unless you're always doing bani and naam with them. That just means you're hanging out with a bunch of people that look like amritaris, right? Not just look like, they are amritaris, right? But those people do not, like it says it in Gurbani, right? Give me sangat of those that remind me of the Guru. Give me, or like ho balahar ne, those people I'm balahar to that make me remember Guruji, you know, naam jape avra naam japa, those that jap naam and then inspire others to jap naam. If you're sitting with people and you're just chilling and you're all Sikh and you all have the same core values, you're not jumping naam together and you're not doing Gurbani together, you're not doing Santya together, you're not reading Atihas together, you're not doing Vichar together, that's not Sangat. That's just friends. Friends, of course, can turn your back on you, right? And also, you're going to go through Sangat, probably like turning, like, it's hard to, the Sangat is given a very high place in Gurbani, right? Saad Sangat, Saad Sangat ke asre prab se orang, like with the kirpa of the Saad Sangat, you can join to Vaheguru. But I think there's a confusion sometimes because Sadhu Ade Sangat, like not much can go like that way. But then also sometimes we can't recognize what is good Sangat and bad Sangat. There might be Sangat, there might not be good Sangat, right? It's hard to spot. It's getting harder and harder to spot like who is like actually truly trying and who should I sit with. But there are signals and signs, right? If someone can sit in front of you, if your sangat can sit in front of you and talk about other Gursikhs or other people and talk badly about them, know 100% you are not safe. If they can do it about other people, they can do it about you. You're not special in that sense. So I think you just have to be careful. Like, Jinnah, you'll know there's there's this lovely Gursikh in the UK, very very old now, but I remember when I had to take him to a camp once, and it was a 4 or 5 hour journey. And the entire time he jumped Nam. Only once he goes to me like, "Where are you taking me, bruv? Like you've been taking the wrong exits and all this stuff." And I was like, Gio, like they were closed. I was like, I promise. And he just laughed and then he continued jumping Nam, right? Now, would I see him as a friend or Sangat? 100% Sangat. And I'm sure he'd call me his friend as well, but 100% he's Sangat that was joining me to Waiguru. So I think you just need to think about, and obviously you can be friends with your Sangat too, but just know that that gets a bit harder because you make different expectations from them. And it's nice to be, I'm friends with my Sangat too. I think it's very, very nice. But then don't get them confused. Like I have no expectations from friends. I try to follow, which is difficult to follow, but just don't have any expectations, right? When you have no expectations, you're never going to be upset. When you have expectations, then you're going to be upset, right? I don't mind like if a friend ends up saying something rude about me or something happens, like it's gonna happen, right? Like it's the world. I mean, if we read Gurbani, right, both on that, right? If with the gurus it happened with the brothers, like what are friends? Like brothers are your own blood, and then friends aren't even your own blood, but at the same time, there's a sangat bond. Like if Guru Sahib's Kripa, you make it. There's sangat friends that you can have that can change your life, and they are the sangat to stay with. But you'll know because they are the people that join you, and you together make that journey towards Vaheguru, right? And ultimately, for a Sikh, your main sangat actually becomes your husband or wife because you're with them all of a sudden. Especially like if you come from a small family like me, you're alone, you're in a lonesomes, and then all of a sudden there's someone there all the time. It's not like, oh yeah, I have to go to a program, like, oh, let me see if anybody's free, if anybody wants to come to this or whatnot. There's someone with you all the time, like 24/7. So choose your life partner wisely. See, are they have do they have a practical jeevan or are they hoping for a practical jeevan, which are two very different things. And then your sangat will become your husband or wife, right? Because ultimately that is the biggest sangat you'll be getting throughout life. Because yeah, that they're there. I hope that answers that question.
Hanji. Third question. I want darshan of Guru Arjan Dev Ji. What do I do?
That's a really nice question, isn't it? It's a really, really nice question. I want darshan too, let me know. I think asking for it. I remember someone saying this to me, like they're like, somebody that they've done the Punjabi Seva, right? They were like, no one ever walks into a Sanjar. You know, you can walk into Amrit Sanjar not just because you want Amrit, but because you have questions. So some people walk in to ask questions. They're like, oh, you know, this is happening in life, and I need help with this, and give me some advice. Asking the Panch Pyare, right? Guru Roop. Like no one's ever walked in and said, I want darshan of Guruji. I want darshan of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And he's like, I'm waiting for the day when someone does. Because they can give you advice, number one, because like in Guru Roop, right? Like they know exactly todi kami ki hai jeevan vich. And they can be like, look, you need to do this. This is what is happening. Um, the biggest thing we can do is ardas. And being very open with that, I feel like shy away from it so much. It's like, okay, you want to reunite with Guruji, but then why don't you want darshan of Guruji? Ask for it. Ask for it in every single ardas. And Guru Sahib listens to your ardas. And eventually, maybe not in this janam, maybe not in the next, maybe in the next couple of janams, but you've started asking for it, right? If you never ask for it, what do you even like? How do you even know what you want, right? If you don't know what you want and you can't say it, then how is Guru Sahib going to give it to you? So ardas karo. And if you want to do extra bani for that darshan as well, like amazing, like do extra and do an extra Sukhmani Sahib. And at the end of the Sukhmani Sahib, be like, Hey Naman Naman Tana Tani Uthti Ot Guru Maharaj, Tan Guru Arjan Dev Ji, मैं पाठ किता ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਯਾਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ darshan baksho. And you know you could do shabads that on the Vajja that are related to Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And yeah, you know, there are examples books where this has happened with Gursikhs where they've got darshan of Guruji. So, you know, I'd say they were human. You're human. It's possible. I'd say connect to those books as well. See what their jeevans were like. Try to replicate their jeevans. And I can only speak from like this is more of a second-hand perspective, right? Not at the level to be like, oh yeah, yeah, like this is what you do, but there's a couple of tips, yeah.
Anji. Just a couple more, G. How can we communicate with Guru Sahib? I have questions that I have asked, but either Guru Sahib is not answering me, or I am not able to understand what Guru Sahib Ji is saying.
Um, so firstly, I think to hear answers, your mind needs to be a bit clearer. So the signs could be there, but because your mind is so messy, you can't see them. What I mean by that is maybe sitting down in silence. I think this is the most biggest thing people struggle with, right? Sitting with yourself. I mean, it goes up and down. I think I struggle with it a bit more now. Sitting with yourself alone and trying to, focus on a Gurbani or Naam or something and just hearing what's going on in your mind, because you'll hear it because everything else is quiet outside now. And hearing what's going on, the answers will come. A lot of answers come at Amrit Vella as well. It's the quietest time, less disruption. You want to take a hukamnama at that time, it'd be great. Hukamname are okay because they're open to interpretation. And by that, what I mean is every single person will probably interpret a different need depending on their avastha. So if you want, maybe get 2, 3, people that are read Gurbani often that can say, oh, this is what Guru Sahib is saying with this Pangati, or maybe research, maybe someone's done Gatha on that Shabad, and see what that Shabad is trying to say. And, talking to Guru Sahib, the more you talk to him, not just when something goes wrong, when you want to hear his voice. Okay, what I mean is, let me make this clear in my head before I say it out loud. When you only go to Guru Sahib during Dukh, then it can be very hard to see the signs because you're not used to seeing the signs. However, if you have a prior relationship with Guru Sahib, which we should all have and try to keep, right? That when something does go wrong, we already know how to spot the signs. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay. Fifth question: how can you accept hukam, especially when something bad happens or someone dies?
It's a very difficult one, isn't it? So when I was about, I think I was like 17, my brother passed away. So he was about 23. He wanted to ask for Amrit. I think because he got so ill with cancer, I think it reminded him of, him wanting to be closer with Gurbani and Sikhi. So he started listening to a lot more Gurbani. It wasn't like he was doing any like Bujagrats or anything like that. He wasn't, actively, asking for Amrit or actively reading Gurbani or anything like that, actively having a Jeevan. So then he wanted to connect with Gurbani. And after about a year or two of chemo and going through everything, they said, oh, it's disappeared. And we were like, oh, amazing, great. My dad wanted that to happen anyway. My dad has a lot of faith in Gurbani because when he had it when he was younger as well, was 4 or 5. He had cancer then as well, and he went and asked the Panch Pyare to do ardas for him, and then they were like, "No, we're not going to do ardas for him. This is Amrit Sanchar." And they were like, "Look, your Guru Roop. I'm asking Guru Sahib to do ardas, not you guys." And then they did ardas, and then all the Sangat knew as well. Then when we were younger, and all the Sangat was doing ardas for him. So much Gurbani was happening for him, and at that 4 or 5 age, they'd said, "Look, there's 5% chance of him surviving," and they gave them the leaflet, that funeral leaflet. They're like, "I'll prepare for his funeral." But at that point, he was saved. So my dad had a lot of faith in Guru Sahib, and he had a lot of faith that, if we do enough ardas and if we do enough Gurbani, Guru Sahib will save him again. And they actually said if he gets past like 21, he'll never get cancer again. But he got to 23. So that's how you know life isn't predictable. You can't guarantee anything in life. So you got older and you got it. This time we didn't tell Sangat as much, so maybe that played a role in it for whatever reason. But also, जो लिखा time लिखा, like you cannot increase or decrease those breaths. The breaths are written, and they are written. And even though like it was October and he wanted to go to the Amrit Sanchar in December, and he just didn't make it to the Amrit Sanchar. Unfortunately, he just didn't make it. And for me at that age, I think because it was like almost a pre-preparation that Gurbani does, and because of the Sangat and the camps and all these talks about death and maut, and Gurbani talks about death so much, like oh my god, it talks about it all the time. It's there in front of our faces. Like na o mare na hove sog in Rara Sahib, right? He doesn't die and you don't have to mourn for him. That's talking about Guru Sahib. Gurbani comes to life for you when somebody passes away. Gurbani changes completely because you're like, I understand this. I understand this reference. This is no longer a metaphor for me. This is no longer something outside for me. This is something I understand. People come and go. People die. Life is very precious. Life is very, and from that you learn so much. I think you could take it. There's a Western philosophy. There's a Western philosophy. It's called Kencho. It could be a Kencho moment. So it can be a very powerful moment in your Jivan where it goes for a lot better. A lot of people have different Kencho moments. And I feel like that was quite a Kencho moment for me because it was like, Gurbani is true. It made my faith in Gurbani even stronger. And it actually made me go to the Amrit Sanchar because he'd asked me to go to the Amrit Sanchar with him. And I said yes, but I actually meant no because I was too scared. And I'm one of those people that I go on about that was like, oh my God, I'm not perfect. Oh my God, like I can't do it. That was me. That's why I talk about it so much because I understand it. Because I thought I needed to be something, but you go with nothing. That's the best way to go, right? You go as a beggar. So that actually made me ask for Amrit because I was like, oh my God, I could die too. And I was like, he didn't make it to Amrit Sanchar. I need to go to this Amrit Sanchar. So I went to the Amrit Sanchar. And I think they can be great moments, and that's one example. Oh, my screen keeps going off. That's just one example. Like I even read some of my Nanaji's diaries. He's passed away now, and he was very, 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 very lovely Jeevan. He had a very lovely Jeevan, and he talks about it. The only reason he has a lovely Jeevan is because one of his best friends passed away, and after that, from what I hear, the accounts and the diaries he written, and from what I've spoken to my nanny, he flipped the switch. He stopped going to, like, he completely focused on Gurbani. He ate little, he spoke little, focused on his Naam Simran. And those can be real big moments. They can be really big, they can be life-changing moments. It's very hard as well, like, especially if you see someone suffering. It's Okka, but I think one thing that you can definitely do is do Bani for their Atma. Only Atma will say Shanti, like you could do Bani. I think someone once told me not to do it because they were like, oh, it takes away from your Bhakti. But then I got older and I was like, no, like we have Bani. Like if we are able to give it to somebody, like let's do it because who knows where they are and where their Atma kithe ruldi firdi pi honi Atma, and Gurbani can have an effect. So Gurbani is nice to do for them, but it's just remembering that it's hard, but go through the process as well, because I feel like a lot of people in Sikhi can underestimate the grief process. So important to also feel your feelings and don't feel like, oh my God, like I have to be Jardi Kala, like, but and you feel like breaking down. I think it's important to feel grief the way you need to feel it. Otherwise, you might feel it later. But this is something our ancestors gave us, right? So when people talk about negative things our ancestors gave us, but this is a really positive way, like hukam accepting. But if you need to feel, everybody's grief looks very, very, very different. Like I've got one of my friends grieving right now, and her grief looks very different, and we speak quite a lot about it. And I think it's important to remember that however your grief looks, it's okay. Keep talking to Guru Sahib. It's okay if you want to cry. It's okay if you want to break down. It's all of that is okay as well. Like if you're not able to stay in Chardi Kala, don't you worry. Like that is okay. Just remember to keep speaking to Guru Sahib, keep that connection going, and talk to Guru Sahib. And everybody's got their own Garam Hana. Guru Sahib still got you here. Make the most of your time here. And it's a very deep question. And I think just remember it's your own journey. Take your time in your grief. Take whatever's needed. If you need to go to therapy, anything that you need, utilize it. All these things are created for us to use, right? I even went to therapy for a bit as well. I think about 2 years after, actually on a different topic, but ended up speaking about that as well because it's a big part of your journey. When someone passes away, especially when it's someone very, very close, comes apart, of your whole journey. It does. So just take your time. It's a very okka thing, Hana. Um, and rely, like, lean on Guru Sahib. Guru Sahib can give a lot there. Like, uh, actually, I forgot the biggest thing. I remember that right after that happened, one thing I did was go into Maharaj's room and do ardas, because I was like, and in my ardas, I'll be perfect. I think the only reason I say this is because I think it might be beneficial to someone that asked that question. Just say, this is too big. Done this hukam. It's very, very big hukam. Too big for me to handle. You take care of this. You take care of this. And mean it from your heart. Not your heart. Mean it from your heart. Sagal dwar ko chhad ke, right? Leave all other doors and leave that door open. It's like asking money from, like, say, I'm not saying we ask Guru Sahib for money, right? But say you asked Guru Sahib for £500, but then you asked 6 other people for £500. Really bad example I'm using here, but anyway, you asked that. But that means you haven't left all the other doors. If you truly believed in that one door, you'd only ask that one door. I guess money is not the right one to use, but I don't know, like something that only Guru Sahib has, and you ask them for it. But yeah, just do ardas. I think ardas is the biggest helper, and be honest and keep your heart open. And I think surrendering is a big thing. I think Guru Sahib has a lot of shakti and a lot of power to hold us up by our shoulders, even when we're falling. So I think if you do ardas, Guru Sahib can pick you up and literally make you walk. And I think that ardas is the only thing that did anything for me. Really, that ardas was it. And if, yeah, that's it, really. I had something.
Hanji, sort of related to this, then again, the last two questions is: what if I'm not ready to give my head to Guru Sahib yet? I am attached to Maya. I cannot accept hukum. I cannot sacrifice. That's just how it is. I need worldly things. Even if I were to give up everything, it wouldn't come from my heart.
I promise you, there's a lot of Amritaris attached to Maya. So am I. It's not a flick of a switch. Like, you go into Amrit Sanchar and that's it. We come out, pow. Like, I'm not attached to anything. I'm done. Like, I'm amazing. Here's my head, Guru Sahib. Boom. Like, here it is. Take it. Yes, that happens to a few people. We see examples like by Fodja saying we see amazing Guru Sikhs go to Amrit Sanchar, right? And they're there to give their head. And they do give it. For some of us, for most of us, like, we you can't go without. How are you going to clear yourself of Maya, attachments, and worldly desire without the Guru? You're only like in a less place of battling it, because there is no way pre-Amrit that you can fight Maya and fight worldly desire and fight duality, because you haven't even announced who your Guru is. You go knocking on the door, it's in Gurbani, right? Kaun re, main kabir. Like, if you go knocking on the door, who are you to the Guru? Guru doesn't know who you are. Go to the Guru first. The Guru gives you the tools to battle these things. These things exist throughout life. There's in Pairama Singh's book, it says, he battled Kam for so many years after he was an Amritari. So this stuff isn't like, oh yeah, like that's it, man. Like, I go to the Amrit Sanchar, like woohoo, like I'm done. Yes, that can happen if you live the Jivan of the Gursikhs Nabai, then yes. You can prepare for these Amrit Sanchars by reading Gurbani, by jumping Naam, by being in Sangat, which is amazing, which you should definitely do. But tools can only be given by the Guru. But if you never announce to the Guru that Tusi mere Guru hegeo, then how is the Guru going to help you? And there is absolutely no way you can get rid of Maya beforehand. How are you going to battle Kam, Krodh, Lom, Hankar, Nindya, Chugli, Vair, Virodh, anything without the Guru? Like that, you go to the Guru first. The Guru Sahib can take care of these things. We have no power. We have absolutely no power against these things. The tools are given by the Guru. Guru Sahib gives these tools, and here you go, put. Agar aah cheez aaye na, to kari put, and then you do those things, right? So don't worry. Don't think that there's like some magical spell, like, you have. Amrit isn't just one day. Amrit is every day. You drink Amrit through your Nityanem, through your Baniya. It's not just, oh, I've done my job. And that's what I think people resist it so much, because they think like that's the last step, but it's really not. That's when you can start collecting your kamai. That's when your panda starts getting full. And when you've actually got something to completely lose. there's a potential of absolutely destroying your panda. So go to the guru. The guru has the power to battle Maya. We do not have the power to battle Maya. It's okay. Start taking those steps. It's important. And Guru Sahib has the answers. And it's okay to be scared. And you're scared to not give your head. At the end of the day, giving your head is your ego. A big part of it is your ego. Medical hankar hega, right? I've got hankar. My hankar should have gone then because I've been in a messenger. Magar mere vich hankar hega. That hankar is going to get destroyed by Guru Sahib, by his Bani, by his Ardas. If I didn't have hankar, that would be brilliant. Oh my god, I love that. But I do have hankar, and I would be lying. And if I said to you like all my Maya's gone, and all my hankar is gone, that would be a lie, and I would be lying to you, and I'm setting you up for false expectations. So this is me being truthful, that hankar is there, like my hankar is there, and it's hard. This jivan can be difficult at times, but with Guru Sahib's kirpa, at times it feels very, very easy, and with the sangat, you don't even realize it's happening. It can happen. But just go, honestly. You don't know how much time you've got left. You ask Guru Sahib and Ardas, Maharaj, I don't really know how to give my head, and I don't know if I'm ready to give my head, but you just take me through this. And if the Panch Pyare think you're not ready, then they'll say it. They'll be like, look, put jaake thodi ji hor bani, but for next Amrit Sanjata si aayo jarur, right? Because back in the day, there was a huge qeemat for Amrit. You had to be, prepping your jivans. But nowadays, there's not much that they might say, but sometimes they do, which is really good because they just want you to be able to do your Amrit Vela really well. In Gurbani it says Guru Arjan Dev Ji, I believe it is Guru Arjan, the person that calls himself a Sikh wakes up in the morning before the sun rises, japs Naam and reads Gurbani as the sun is rising. So that's hukam. Sikh is somebody that does that. So yeah, don't be scared. We were all scared. We've all been in that position. Again, some next level we probably haven't, but it's okay to be scared, and it's okay to think that you're gonna make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes. We are gonna make mistakes. That's okay. Just okay. We all are, and we just have to try to learn from those mistakes, Hannah.
Okay, Ji. And the last question: what is the state of Chardi Kala or Sahaj?
Oh, that's so lovely. Chardi Kala or Sahaj. I mean, you've got to read these books that I've been saying. They've reached Chardi Kala level, they've reached Sahaj level, and the gurus, right, are examples of Chardi Kala levels and Sahaj levels. So let's look to people that actually have that. And everything we've spoken about today, right? Guru Arjan Dev Ji was in Chardi Kala, and Guru Arjan Dev Ji was in complete Sahaj Avastha. So those are the places to see it, and they are the embodiment of it. And I think there's specific books. I think there are I haven't come across it yet, but I think there's a book about Sahaj Avastha by Bindi Singh as well. I don't think I've gone across all of Bhavir Singh's books yet, but it might be there as well. There are, and I think even if you go to if you look at the book club here as well, what they're reading, and there's www.vidya.com, VIDHIA, which has a lot of books there. And you just look at these Gursikhs, right, that are in Chardi Kala no matter what happens. And I remember actually when COVID hit as well, I rang this Gursikh, and I was like, how are you doing? Because he was very buzurg. I was like, how are you doing? He's like, I was like, and he didn't even say anything. I was like, yeah, I'm good. You know how they just want to get off the phone and jump on, and I was like, okay. So he said that he COVID to nahi. He's like, Hanji, Maharaj ne prasad ditta da hone. And I was like, oh God, he wasn't joking. He was being dead serious. He was like, it was like, this is a gift. This is prasad. And how is that not Charity Gala, right? He's buzurg. There's a high chance of him not surviving that. He was like, this is a prasad, this is a gift given to me. And I was just thinking that is Sahaj, that is Chardigla, right? That is humility, not being oh, I'm a Guru Sahib ki kitta mainu kyo kitta mere inne dukh hai gaya. And then I actually went to visit this other Gursikh that's got quite poorly now, and he was bedridden, even though he's done so much seva with the pant. And then and he was showing me his legs, and it had huge, they were all purple, very, very purple. And I was like, oh my God, ki hoya. He's like, oh, putt mere karam hone, main kuch kitta hona, koi na, baba ne kitta, koi na, main kitta kaam koi, right? And I guess Guru Arjan Dev Ji accepting hukam, And once you do things like that, you can enter a state of chardi kala. But again, I think look at the people that are practically doing that. You know, I'm a secondhand person saying this, right? But there's people that have lived those attributes. Gurbani can 100% give you those attributes. You know, when life hits, Guru Sahib can keep you in Saj. And also, if you do Sangat with those people that are in Chardikla, that are in Saj, and I mean truly, I mean not Instagram level, I mean truly in Saj and truly in Chardikla, online Sangat karo, right? And then maybe Guru Sahib can be Diyal and make us like that as well, right?
All right, I believe that's the last question from our question box. There are no more questions left in the Sangatji. So once again, thank you to the Sangatji from joining in and taking Laha in this event. And then, of course, Kort Tanwad Tadab, Bibi Prableen Kaur ki aap ji aan ke the. You gave this amazing talk and answered all of our questions so well. It's quite amazing. Thank you very much, Ji.
I was gonna say no, thank you guys for your sangat. You've made me do Vichar of Guru Sahib, which you know I can't ever repay to the sangat. And you know, if you can keep me in your ardas to not fall off this path and stay on this path, that would be brilliant. And I apologize if I said anything wrong. I am a little kid in this very big world. So thank you for your sangat, guys. Really appreciate it. And yeah.
Good, Sangatji, thank you for joining in. In the end, just as a final reminder, make sure to take part in both the Sahaj part and the Chali De Gurmantar job that is going on in the Gurbani voice sections. Make sure you just sign up with the links above. Again, thank you, Panji. Thank you, Sangatji. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.